Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show powered by the Full Court Network. Luke Taylor back in the saddle with my guy Sammy D for another week. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review where you can. Follow us on X, Twitter, wherever the hell it's called, Instagram. And if you're watching us on YouTube, pound the subscribe button. So, Sam, we're going up the road from where we graduated. I remember this fine gentleman. I knew him when he had less hair and less wins. And we're excited. This is I told you what my stage name is, Sam, is Persistence. It's taken 2 years to get this guy on the show. We've had a lot of colleagues of his, a lot of friends. We got Marquette University men's basketball coach Shaka Smart. Welcome to the Full Court Press, Coach.
Great to be here with you guys.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. So how's your? Go ahead, Sam.
Go ahead,
No, you go ahead. Ladies first.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But Coach, we've been kind of following your career, man. Congrats on, what you've achieved and everything like that. You've seen so many different kind of transitions through the game of college basketball. You've been kind of a focal point of your philosophy with the game. Where are you sitting as a head coach right now with the status of college basketball?
Well, it just continues to evolve. Maybe by the time you guys put this out, it'll be 5 years of eligibility.
Who knows?
So, I think the key is just to continue to be willing to adapt. And I think having a willingness to stay true to what matters most to you, as a coach and as a program, but also understanding that as things evolve, you have to evolve with them. But I do believe that the players, still want the same things, out of their experience. Maybe there's a couple factors that have been added in, over the last couple of years, but, guys still really, really value relationships with their teammates first and foremost, and with the people around them. They really value the experience that they have wherever they are, whether that's on the court or off the court. And then, they want to grow and improve as basketball players and as people. They want to become what they need to become by the time it's, time to go out in the real world, and they want to win. Guys, that's a big deal. It feels good to win. There's consequences of winning, and those are all things that still really matter.
Yeah. Has your philosophy changed kind of from Virginia Commonwealth to Texas to now Marquette?
Definitely. Yeah, it's changed. I think the core of who I am and what I care about has not changed, but the game's evolved so much. So, for example, when I was at VCU, we pressed every single possession. Nobody does that anymore. I don't know if it's even possible the way that the game is officiated now. So you just have to adjust and adapt to the way that the game is kind of trending. And I've evolved in ways off the court, with the guys and on the court as well. Hopefully I've gotten a little bit smarter with certain things, but like I said, I still really value the relationships with the guys, the opportunity to roll up our sleeves and help them grow and improve. And then there's nothing like, coming together to do something special as a group.
Yeah. Sam, ultimately, the only question I want to ask you, Coach, are you a better coach with hair or without hair?
I actually got that last week a couple times too.
Okay.
Wow.
And my answer to it was, it doesn't really matter what the hair. It's more about the players than the hair, for sure.
I don't know. Okay.
I like that. So you talk about the relationships, right? I mean, talk about like Nigel James Jr., Royce Parman, Adrian Stevens, what are those conversations like? Do you feel more pressure to build that relationship quicker with guys like that, knowing the pressure that they have with outside noise coming in?
Well, that's a great point, Sam. I think that there is more pressure to build a relationship quicker because everything's evaluated more year to year than it once was. So, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, the relationship you needed to have with a freshman was, X, to help him feel like, he's progressing and developing. And now it's Y, because, one, in the case of the three guys that you mentioned, those guys had prominent roles as freshmen. And those guys were looked upon to do quite a bit for our program early on. So obviously that relationship is more important, but also just from the standpoint of them knowing that I have their best interest in mind, that I care about them, that we have a true partnership. George Raveling was a mentor of mine, like he was for so many coaches. I mean, he was like America's
Legend.
mentor.
Oh, legend.
And one of the things he said to me that was so incredibly profound is he said, a partnership is really defined as a simple equation. We equals you plus me. And what he meant by that is we can't have the best we unless you bring all of you and I bring all of me. And even though that sounds really simple and basic, if you think about that from the standpoint of relationships with players, if you're able to create that type of dynamic where they feel like you're bringing all of you and you feel like they're bringing all of them, that's really what you want. And if you're able to have several of those on one team, you're going to be pretty successful.
Yeah. Sam, you hear that?
I hear that.
What partnership is, Sam?
I know. This is like therapy right now.
Yeah. I love that you're saying this. So, Coach, we're really big about culture. And I look at you, you're kind of like the ultimate culture guy, even going through the kind of new age of college basketball. You've kind of stick to your guns, and when we, respect that. You're bringing in a couple players that we both are big fans of. Kid from Louisville, the Foo, big kid, very agile, very mobile. It's going to be really fun, the Big East. But the one kid I'm really excited about, and I've talked to Sam about this, he reminds us, now we're both DePaul graduates, so we'll just throw that out there. We'll throw that into the universe. He played for me. I coached. I only lost once to Marquette. And after that loss, we never lost again. But here nor there, okay? Nolan Minasali.
Guy's a ball player.
Sam, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a name, okay? He's in the NBA playoffs right now. This kid reminds me of Max Strus.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
What was the pieces this summer and utilizing the portal here? What were the pieces you were looking to add to kind of what you have coming back, especially like what Sam mentioned and Nigel James Jr., who was freshman player of the year in the Big East?
Yes, so this was for us a little bit of new territory because in 2021, when I got the job, we only had 3 returning players. So we did take 4 transfers that spring, and we were pretty successful with it. We took Tyler Kolek, who's in the NBA. We took Omax Prosper, who's in the NBA. And then we took a couple of grad transfers, Daryl Morcell and Kirk Weth, who both had very good seasons for us that next year. But we made the decision really the next several springs to just double down on who we had. And that's a whole other conversation why we did that, and certainly, can bear examining in terms of how successful it was or wasn't in different years. But we made the decision, during the season, this past season, that we were going to take at least a couple transfers because we felt like we needed that from a few different standpoints. One, we felt like we needed to add to the maturity of our team and the experience of our team. We did get a good group of guys coming back, but all those guys were either freshmen or sophomores this past year. So they're going to be sophomores and juniors this next year, meaning that, we certainly wanted to add at least a couple more guys who had played a good amount of basketball and had good experience or good maturity to them. And then we felt like we needed some really, really good playmaking to go along with Nigel James Jr. and Adrian Stevens, our 2 guards that started as freshmen. And we feel like Nolan brings that. He's a guy that, man, he's like a jack of all trades. He can do a lot of different things out there. He's very unselfish. He's a good passer. He's a good ball handler. He's someone that's good attacking closeouts. He's a good cutter. He's a good offensive rebounder. So there's a lot of things that he brings to the table. And then he's also very, very competitive on both ends of the floor. And then the other thing we felt like we needed was in the front line, we needed size and athleticism. And the two biggest basketball attributes we were looking for was rebounding and the ability to finish around the basket. And when we signed Sonny Frew, we were really excited, really excited about what he's going to bring to our team.
Yeah. Wow.
How much of this transition, like with your philosophy, is just you and your coaching staff, and how much of it is did you have conversations with like President Young or like, you know, your AD Mike Brecker, and like, I mean, how much of that involvement, how much trust do they have in you to just say, yeah, I'm gonna evolve this Marquette basketball program, but we're still gonna keep the Marquette brand intact that we're known for?
Well, the good thing about being at Marquette is basketball is so important here that it's kind of like an ongoing conversation with, you know, all the key folks around the program, and not just here, you know, on campus, but even a lot of the key people that support us and make Marquette such a special place. And you know, former players, people that care about the program, want to see the program move forward. I think, you know, there's been a real commitment here in the past to doing things a certain way that's not necessarily the same as everyone else. And I know everyone kind of feels that about their particular place, but, you know, Marquette there's a special quality here about relationships and the way people feel about each other and the experience that guys had. So we never wanted to lose that. But like I said, it became pretty clear that it made sense for this year's team for us to add at least a couple guys in the portal. And, you know, let's be honest, it's always going to be, you know, somewhat relative to who you have, who you brought in out of high school, your retention. And again, not to dwell on the past, but when we had Tyler Kolek, Oso Ighodaro, and Omax Prosper as sophomores, and then Cam Jones, Stevie Mitchell, and David Joplin as freshmen, it made sense to really focus on the retention of those guys. And it really paid off. But if you don't necessarily have classes that have, you know, that level of both talent and character and culture, then that maybe changes things. And again, the thing with high school recruiting that's different maybe than transfer recruiting is it's certainly not, unless you're recruiting a McDonald's All-American, it's certainly not shooting fish in a barrel. You know, in other words, some guys turn out to be a lot better than you thought. Some guys, maybe the adjustment is more difficult than you might have thought. And then one of the things you learn as a coach, and you guys know this, is depending on the level of success that a guy has, that does impact a lot of other factors for him. Like obviously guys are better leaders when they're playing really well. Guys are better culture guys when they're getting, you know, what they're looking for in terms of playing time and role.
So what we're talking about, so the $20 million I sent Mark Pope to Kentucky, you don't want it?
Oh, we could use that for sure. Especially with where the transfer portal market is.
Yeah. How much of that market, I mean, you were always a guy who is like, you know, players, your existing roster is a huge piece of recruits coming in, whether it's transfer, whether it's high school recruits. It's like players want to play with players they like, right? Like how much of that piece is still intact?
Well, it's still a big deal. To be honest with you, Nigel James Jr. was one of the biggest reasons that Sonny Frew chose Marquette. He wanted to play with a point guard that's dynamic, that can create plays, that's good in two-man actions. And so the recruitment definitely changed in a good way when those two started communicating with each other.
That's awesome. Yeah. Like, I think that's a piece that's just missing, like that people don't like talk about anymore, where it's like,
well, it's a great point, Sam. And here's the thing. These guys are going to end up playing together. So, you know, everybody's building out their rosters. And obviously the way recruiting works most of the time is one by one. So you're going to add this guy and then we're going to add this guy. But ultimately they have to come together to build a whole, hopefully, that's greater than the sum of the parts. And I think that's the unbelievable thing that Michigan did this past year. Obviously, it's easy to point to since they won the whole thing. But so many guys from so many different backgrounds that came in, but still able to make their whole greater than the sum of the parts. Now, they had awesome parts for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's going to be reflected in the NBA draft, but still, to go do what they did, that only happens if you're able to get guys to come together and play well together and multiply each other out there on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty amazing how much money's being floated around in these NIL deals and what have you. Do you feel, because I know you're a big proponent of coaching in general, the NABC, what have you. Do you feel there's more pressure to win quicker just because of all this money? I mean, I keep feeling bad about Mark Pope, because of, you see this number and whatever, and, you see Will Wade down at LSU and all this money flowing around. Do you feel like a sense of urgency and pressure from maybe not your athletic director president, but just fans in general?
Well, I do think, guys, that overall coaches and teams and players are evaluated and judged in smaller segments.
Mm-hmm.
And so the answer to your question is yes, just because, it almost feels like a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that's like 10 years ago, because everything is changing so much. And, obviously with social media, the focus is typically on what happened 5 minutes ago. And so in some ways, college basketball has become a little bit more like the NFL, where you guys know how, in the NFL, where after a win on one Sunday, it's like everything is awesome, and then literally a week later, if that team loses, the sky is falling.
Yeah.
And so I do think, college sports have moved that direction a little bit. Not that that's anyone's fault, or not that that's even a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's just part of our reality, and we have to help, at least internally, and then to some extent externally, we have to help message the folks that matter to us to understand that we are still focused on relationships, growth, and victory, and certain things are going to be a result of delayed gratification.
Yeah.
So I'm going to transition the conversation a little to kind of just your career, right? I see your background. You've got pictures from kind of every part of your career, but one of the things that gets noticed a lot is just how reputable your coaching tree is, right? It's kind of like, hey, you come and you work for Coach Smart, whether you're Debo or assistant coach, you have the opportunity to work your way up and become a head coach somewhere. You look at Mike Rhodes, Coach Morrell, Jamie and Christian, Nevada Smith, what you've done for Jeremy Ballard throughout the years. I mean, these are just easy names to throw out there, what does that kind of mean to your legacy to kind of create this little mini brotherhood of coaches that you've had the honor and opportunity to work with and seeing them succeed?
Well, I'll say this. The two things that I get the most joy out of beyond our current team are, one, former players and the success that they're having at the next level or in other walks of life. And just, I get a text every morning from one of our managers with all the box scores and everything that our guys have done the night before that are playing professionally. It's a lot of fun. And then number two, following the guys that you're talking about that were once part of our staff, made our team really, really successful when they were part of the staff, and then moved on to become head coaches. And it's just a lot of fun. It's something I get a kick out of. I learned a lot from those guys. One of the things that's really, really fun is seeing each of them, how they were as assistants and then how they become as head coaches. And, it's funny because some of those guys, when they were assistants, they would fight me on different things, and I won't name any names.
Initials. Give us initials, Coach. We probably don't know them.
But, since you know Morrell really well, we'll throw him out there. So he used to say to me all the time, well, culture, that's your thing. That's not really something that and now that he's a head coach, it's all about culture. And
right.
We got to work on culture. And so it's pretty cool. I mean, we all went through it when I was a young assistant. I had certain things that I had no idea what it was going to be like. And so sometimes you just got to go through that adjustment. But it's been a lot of fun. You mentioned Nevada. He just got the Siena job.
Yeah.
What a great opportunity. And what an unbelievable offensive mind he has. I don't know a ton about that league, but I can tell you this. Siena will be at or near the top of the league in offense.
Nice. Sam, let's get him going here.
Yeah, Coach, we do a little thing called the shot clock. LT is going to fire off like 5 or 6 questions. Some of them may be quick little one-word answers. Some of them may lead to a short story. Regardless, the platform is going to be yours. So, LT, let's get it.
All right. Biggest misconception of Big East basketball?
Ooh, that's a great question.
It's been a roller coaster the past couple of years. So.
Well, our league it's so unique. I'm having trouble coming up with a misconception, but I'll give you guys a couple things. It's so unique in that, we take pride in being one of the best leagues in the country from the standpoint of men's basketball, but we don't have football. And so what comes out of that is I've worked in the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 as either an assistant coach or a head coach. Obviously, 3 of the best, if not the best, leagues, along with the Big 10. The thing that we have in the Big East that's unlike those leagues is there is 365 days a year a level of desperation for men's basketball to win and be successful. Because what you do have in those other leagues, obviously, I'll use Clemson as an example. I was an assistant at Clemson. In the spring, like right now, Clemson baseball is a big deal. That's a big deal going on there. Obviously, year-round, Clemson football. That's a big deal. Now, I worked for Oliver Purnell, and he really had it going down there. So by the time we got to a certain time of the year, man, it was incredible support and interest in the team. But just using that as an example, at these Big East schools, you guys, mentioned DePaul, at these Big East schools, there's a desperation for basketball year round. And it's pretty cool to be part of.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a good, I like that. So we're going to do a Big East coaching Olympics, okay? So I'm going to ask you in these different Olympic events, which coach you think would win, okay?
Okay.
Ready? First event. Who of these current Big East head coaches, who would win the 100-yard dash?
Oh, me, for sure.
There you go.
Okay. What about the triple jump?
I'm going to give that one to Ronald Norad.
Okay.
He's got the youngest legs.
Yeah.
Okay. What about wrestling?
Ooh. Ed Cooley. I'm gonna give that one to Ed Cooley. I mean, he's got good size. His teams play with a level of toughness and physicality and aggressiveness.
Okay.
I'm gonna give that one to Ed.
Okay. Rhythmic gymnastics.
He doesn't want to throw anybody under the bus here.
I don't know on that one.
I think Danny Hurley would be phenomenal.
He would take it seriously, that's for sure.
Well, I'll say this. Shaheen, by far the best player.
Oh, yeah.
By far. And so he has the most rhythm, too.
Okay.
So if that translates, it would be him.
Okay. Who do you think had the highest GPA of all the coaches in college?
I bet there's probably a lot of us that had very good grades. So
we don't have the right answer to this.
Well, I think you were the only one that were at the Magna Cum Laude Award at a very good school.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of probably really good students.
That's a safe answer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Which Big East coach could last the longest on a reality show?
Oh, Danny Hurley and Coach Pitino, both of them. I mean, those guys would have the most interesting reality shows for sure.
They would welcome it.
And it would be must-see TV.
Yeah. Yeah. What rule change would you like to see happen in college sports right now? If you can only have one rule change, what would it be?
This is like in the games, or
could be on the court or off the court.
Yeah, anything.
I'll give you one of each.
Okay.
How about that? I would love to go to a 24-second shot clock, 8 seconds in the backcourt. So that would be cool.
Ooh, you like it fast.
On the court.
He likes to press.
I know.
And then off the court, you guys will know this came from me. I would love for us to somehow be able to incentivize guys that stay at one school.
100%.
And so if you made, I know we can't do this because it would be lawsuits and all that stuff like that. And I think Coach Calipari has actually been saying this for quite some time. What I would do is, if they're talking about this 5th year of eligibility, give that to guys that came in at one school and actually graduated from that school. Give them another year. But even beyond that, some way to incentivize that, because everybody's banging their head against the wall about transfers and the immediate eligibility and guys going to a different school every year. I think we missed the mark when it's about complaining about that. Mm-hmm. And if we worked a little bit harder to incentivize, like what's actually good and what gets rewarded when guys stay, that could be a real positive.
Yeah, it also stresses the whole student athlete aspect too, right? I mean,
oh yeah, there's that.
Yeah. What school did you graduate from, Dad? Well, I went to 6 of them. No. Let's be honest. Okay, if you weren't coaching, what would you be doing? You can't be a teacher.
Well, that's actually what I was going to say. I always say if I wasn't coaching, I'd want to be a professor or a teacher somewhere.
But you are. That's the thing with a coach. You are a professor, teacher.
Yeah,
I know your wife is too. So
if I wasn't in coaching, then what I would enjoy doing would be some type of consultant or something where I worked with people who were coaching.
Okay.
Just trying to help, people. And then the other thing is I'm really, really interested in, consciousness work or helping people raise their awareness and consciousness. Yep. So some type of background in that. Although once you make that your job, then all of a sudden that becomes really heavy, and that's the last thing you want it to be.
Okay. I like it though. That's really good. Most ridiculous fan interaction you've ever had?
Oh, wow. We could do a whole show on that. In fact, you should get a panel of coaches and just talk about that. That would definitely be a must hear or must see podcast. Man, the fans, I love them, but they're getting kind of outrageous because I think, again, with just the proliferation of everything, the money, the gambling, everything, the fans are getting a little nutty too when you go on the road. I have some fun interactions with the fans when they say certain things, and then maybe if our team is able to do something good, I can kind of give them a little wink. But I'll tell you some of the most challenging places from the standpoint of fans.
Let's hear it. Where's the 3 toughest places in the Big East?
Well, Tyler Kolek had a really, really interesting interaction that was game long. It was the whole game with the fans at Villanova on campus. So that's an interesting one. University of Dayton, where I used to work, those fans are great. They're great in terms of supporting their team, but they also get after you too. There may or may not have been a fan there that, was a little bit too personal with me about my family. And so that's where, as a coach, you're like, whoa, you kind of have to lock in on what you're doing, because these fans are saying things that in no other walk of life would be acceptable or would you allow someone to say to you.
Yep.
And I would say two places, these are not in the Big East, but that lead the way in terms of places I've been, in terms of the coordination of all the fans together, supporting their team and getting after the other team, would be Kansas and Purdue.
Oh.
Those are real. They're very aligned. They have great alignment amongst all their fans.
Yeah, we've witnessed it multiple times in the flesh at Kansas. You know, he's from Kansas City, and my uncle was a professor there in Dean. So we've spent a lot of time at Lawrence, and a lot of coaches have said that. So give me two last questions, okay? Funniest recruiting story that you can say, and we've heard it all. Right, Sam? We've heard it all. We've heard
pretty much everything.
Yeah,
They're good stories.
Yeah, great stories.
Well, I got a few that I can't really share, but I'll tell you a Billy Donovan recruiting story.
Love it.
That I don't know if it's funny, but it was like it's real insight into him. We were recruiting when I was at Florida a young man by the name of Patrick Young. And Patrick Young ended up coming to Florida, had a really, really good career. He's doing a heck of a job now as like a motivational speaker. He's a really, really high-level guy. But at this time, we were recruiting him, and he was 16 years old. He's from Jacksonville, Florida. And I had just gotten to Florida. I'm working for Billy Donovan. It's like my dream, like, job to work with this guy is like my idol. And getting a chance to like recruit for him is like, wow, like there's nothing you'd rather do as a young assistant. So I'm working hard on Patrick Young, went to see him, did all the things you do, went to the school, talking to all the people around him. And the kid's from Florida. He's from Jacksonville. So, you know, Billy was, I think, a year or two removed from winning 2 national championships. And you know how head coaches are, like in recruiting, they want to get to the point where it's done. They want to get the guy committed. So we've been recruiting him for a little while, and Patrick was really good and really interested, and really his interactions were awesome, but he hadn't committed yet. And, you know, Billy's the guy, he wants to get things done. So, you know, finally he says to me, he's like, hey, Shaq, what's his dream school? And I made the mistake of saying, well, at one point he did mention that when he was a young kid, he liked North Carolina. So that was a mistake. So Billy, he's like, okay, I'm calling Patrick. So he calls Patrick Young, and he says to him, listen, I heard North Carolina is your dream school. And Patrick Young's like 16 years old. He's like, well, yeah, when I was a kid, I liked him. And Billy says, okay, well, listen, if that's your dream school, I think we need to call Roy Williams right now and ask him if he's going to offer you a scholarship. And I think you should commit to North Carolina if they're going to offer you a scholarship. And long story short, by the end of the conversation, Patrick Young was committed to Florida. He committed to Florida by the end of the conversation, which was kind of the point of what Billy Donovan was doing on this call. But Patrick Young had a very, very strong mom. Her name was Benita Young. Great woman. Very, very intelligent, great mom. So she calls me like right after that phone conversation, and she says, what did you guys do to my son? Like, he's in tears. You know, what was said in that conversation. So she was not pleased about like how that went down. But it really ended up in a good place. Patrick did end up committing to Florida. He ended up coming to Florida. He had a great career. His senior year, he went to the Final Four. So all went well.
Oh my God. Oh, that's awesome. All right, last question. This one will be the toughest one of the lot. Okay, they're making a Hollywood movie about your life. Okay. What would the title be? Who would play you, and what would be the theme song?
Do people actually answer these questions?
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Wow. I just haven't really thought enough about that type of thing. So the title of the movie Whew.
Some deep thought here.
Oh, but I mean, these three questions really kind of put your life in perspective. That's what other coaches have said. You really, you think about your childhood, your teenage years, your college years, your early coaching, your life, your marriage, your family. I mean,
where you are now, what you still want to achieve.
Yes. So it depends. Because
that's already taken. Coach has already said it depends.
there's really a couple different movies. There's one about my life, but then there's one about basketball. So I would say the one about my life, it would be entitled, this is a bad title, but Learning Who I Am Through Learning Who I'm Not.
Ooh.
So that would be the title. Who would play me? I don't know. I don't really have a great sense for the actors out there. Maybe Spike Lee.
Okay.
And then the theme song would be the song Let It Be, but not the Beatles version.
Ooh.
The Aretha Franklin version.
Okay.
So at least those were unique answers. You probably haven't heard any.
Those were good. I like that.
Wow.
I like that.
That's pretty deep there, Coach. Appreciate that.
Well, that's why I had to think about it for a second.
Yeah. All right, Sammy, finish them off.
Yeah, Coach, we're going to close this out here. Great episode. Appreciate you coming on. I'm going to turn it over to you last minute episode. If there's anything you want to share to the Marquette basketball fans, alumni, boosters, you're big on relationships, growth. We've really hit on those two this episode. That third kind of element is victory, right? What does victory look like for Marquette basketball next season?
Man, well, it looks like, first of all, Fiserv Forum being lit up. I really believe in all the best programs, there is this relationship between the fans in the stands and the players on the floor that you really can't define in words. It's a feeling that, we've certainly had here for good stretches of time during the 5 years that I've been here. But it's a feeling that, honestly, we didn't feel nearly enough last year. And we felt it in our very last home game this past year. But we have to create that, and we are excited about creating that on a consistent, every game, every day basis. And so that's kind of, that feeling of what victory feels like. Obviously, anybody can talk about like a certain number of wins or winning championships, and those are all things that we're going after. We're really excited about our team. We feel like we have as good as there is of a young point guard in the country in Nigel James Jr. We feel like we have several other really good pieces guys that are growing and developing and that have the potential to become eventually all Big East players. And as I mentioned, I really like the two transfers we have coming in and the two high school guys that we have coming in. Nobody really talks about high school incoming guys anymore as well, but I think those guys can really impact us in a positive way. And we still believe here in building and in growing guys. We believe in our guys every 3 months being better than they were the 3 months before. And the day that we're filming this, I know it may not be the same day that it comes out, but there's 174 days until we play our first basketball game this season.
171.
171. Okay, perfect. So for us, it's about creating the feeling first internally amongst each other, and then with everyone associated with Marquette basketball that goes into being champions, because we say first you have to act, interact, and respond like champions, and then you can become champions.
Yeah, love it. How many teams are getting in the from the Big East are getting in the NCAA tournament this upcoming season, Coach?
I'm going to say 5.
I like it.
Yeah.
Those in the good years that we've had here, that's been about what the number is. Mm-hmm. It was a low number last year. I think a couple years before that it was too low, but I think very, very capable of having 5 teams in the tournament.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you're going to stick on for one more second as we upload, but Coach, really appreciate it. Check out the Marquette Golden Eagles. I really said that while I was a DePaul graduate. But no, I respect you, dude. I respect Marquette. I respect the big.
We got to get you guys up to Fiserv.
Let's do it.
Have you guys been to a game up here?
No.
Nope.
Okay, well, listen, this is what we're going to do, okay?
All right.
If you guys will come to a game, I will get you tickets on the court, all right? You can literally sit on the baseline, and you'll be right next to our bench. But I'd love to get you guys there. And I understand you have allegiance to DePaul, but at least you can take in.
But you know what? Out of respect, I will not wear anything DePaul, nor will Sam.
We're a full court.
We just love college basketball. I'll tell you,
yeah.
One of my favorite college basketball players of all time was D. Wade. What he did at Marquette, next level.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're undefeated when he comes to games in the 5 years I've been here.
Let's do it.
So we are working hard to get him to as many games as we can.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate it. Sam, we're going to Milwaukee, man. Milwaukee is gorgeous in February.
Yep. Let's do it.
Gorgeous. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. Another Full Court Press, college basketball coach show with Sam and I on the Full Court Network.